What's up YouTube? Welcome to a new video today on In the Stars. So today's video is going to be about Aries Rising Influence / Ascendant. Now, if you all are not familiar or haven't watched my past video on Ascendant / Rising Influence, then let me reiterate. You get your rising or ascendant sign, or a person gets their rising or ascendant sign based off the time and location they was born, of course the date as well. So with that being said, your ascendant or rising sign is always going to fall in the first house. The first house is the house of self and also the ascendant house, right? It's called your rising sign because it's the time of the day that the sun is on the horizon of that sign, so to speak. So now, what does your rising or ascendant say about you in specific? Your rising / ascendant sign will give you a detail of pretty much like how you are, or how you project yourself, or how a person projects their self to the outside world. This shows their appearance, typically, their actions, not necessarily as in Mars actions, but more as in, what do you call it, like reaction to things, I'm sorry, the word will come back to me later on in the video, I'm sure. But it's pretty much detailing, like I said, your outside, like how you are viewed from the outside world, how you are viewed from people who are not typically around you all the time, people who don't know everything about you. It's the mask you wear, so to speak. Like your ascendant, your rising is the mask that you wear. So these are, and it also can determine, and it also could determine, like I said, like how a person may look as well. Like there are other planetorial influences and other placements in your chart that also determines how you might look in terms of looks. But your ascendant / rising is also an indication of that as well. It's also said to be, some astrologers believe that it's one of the most important placements in a person's chart is where your ascendant or rising, like what sign and what aspects or what planets may lie in that first house or that house of self. So, given all of that, today's video is going to be about Aries rising ascendant. Determining somebody's ascendant or rising, the first thing, or it's not in a specific order, should I say, but the first thing that I'm going to look at, or today I'm going to talk about, is a person's personality. So someone's personality of how they are perceived to the outside world is going to be, for Aries rising at least, they're going to be probably more impulsive, because of that, or they're going to seem to be more impulsive, because keep in mind, it's all about, ascendant and rising is all about appearance, how it seems, you know what I'm saying? So with somebody's Aries on the rising or ascendant, is going to be, like I said, they're going to appear to be more impulsive. They're going to appear to be more action oriented. They can appear to be more passionate. And these are things all that corresponds to Aries sign in general. But you got to keep in mind, we're talking about the ascendant now, so that's why I said it's all based off of all of appearance. So their personality is going to, like I said, it's going to be more action oriented. Their appearance to the outside world, or to people who don't know them, they can be more, they can have a higher sex drive. They might talk about sex a lot, or they might be a very flirtatious person, or they can like to view porn, for an example, or they might like excessively, or like to maybe even might even just like sexual things that revolve around sex, because Mars is Aries ruling planet. And if you haven't watched Aries sun sign video, then you wouldn't or don't know typically much about Aries. Yes, Aries ruling planet is Mars. Mars rules. One of the things that Mars rules is your sex drive. So, with that being Aries ruling planet, and Aries being at a person's rising sign, then, like I said, then this will increase that outward appearance of this person is a more sexual person. This person might be, like I said, more of an impulsive person, because Mars also rules action and assertiveness. So this person can actually appear to be more assertive with how they go about things, or just even how they communicate, or how they are around others, how they are in the public. You get what I'm saying? These people can also seem more passionate in what they do to the general public. You know what I mean? They might appear more passionate. That's that fire, that fire element that's a part of Aries that's coming out of them, just more passionate in general. So when you mix that passion in with that sex drive, as I was going back to that, these people can appear to be very sexual people because of that, that passion mixed with that sex drive. They can appear to be that, as I was saying, because this is all about appearances, not necessarily saying this is how they are. This could be a front that they put on. It might not necessarily be a front to them, but this cannot be their true self. You see what I'm saying? This might just be, like I said, how they are publicly. Also, I'm trying to think. Also, Aries rising or Aries ascendant person can appear to be more energetic in general, because Mars rules energy in itself. Combined with that fire sign, and combined with that cardinal modality, then this can, like I said, this can lead to a higher energy, because keep in mind the cardinal energy is a self-starter. This is why they are also can be perceived as being impulsive people, because of that cardinal energy, because of that high passionate energy from the fire, and from also that high energy from from the ruling planet of Mars. So these Aries ascendant people can be all but that. They can be also headstrong people, because Aries in itself is a part of the first house. The first house is, like I said, the house of self. The first house, so like that, thinking about oneself. This is why Aries are perceived, or are some of their traits are that they are that they have a me first attitude. That's why their symbol or their glyph is the ram, because they lead with their heads. You know what I mean? They can, whether it's physically or even mentally, like their thoughts of themselves are going to be on themselves before it's going to be on anyone else. They're going to lead head first into things. They might, so this, you see how this back to how this corresponds to impulsiveness, because of that same type of energy. They can appear to lead into things without thinking them out first, or without thinking of others first. They can, you know what I'm saying, put themselves first. Okay, so these are some of the traits of Aries personality. So also with that impulsive outward appearance, they can also seem to be more spontaneous than others. Because keep in mind, that's what impulses usually rely on, or correspond to, or a synonym of, is spontaneity. So they can seem to be very spontaneous people, you know. And keep in mind that all of these traits are based on if a person's ascendant / rising is positively placed. If it's not positively placed, it could be the exact opposite of these traits. You know, a person cannot be spontaneous at all, or a person can have a very low sex drive, or a person can have a very low energy, or it could be somewhere in between. They can at sometimes, you know, nothing is ever 100% certain one way or 100% certain another way. It also depends on how stuff transits in your chart as well. So like all of these things you have to take account for when you think of different traits, or different traits from different signs, planets, and so on and so forth. But basically speaking, these are some of the traits that a person who's on the Aries rising will have. Also, we're talking about ascendant rising. You also have to think about this affects a person's mannerisms. That was the word I was probably looking for earlier. Is a person's mannerisms is usually determined on their ascendant or rising sign. So when you're thinking about an Aries rising or Aries, ascendant, then that you will be thinking of some of those same traits in terms of how their mannerisms are. So they probably are fast moving people, you know what I'm saying? Like they have fast moving mannerisms in terms of whether it's their hand gestures, are probably very passionate when they either move or when they speak, speak passionately, move passionately. You get what I'm saying? And that terms, they probably have very quick movements, and that comes back down to impulses. Like I said, spontaneity, high energy. Like their movements are probably very quick. They probably are very quick thinkers in terms of being witty or whatnot, you know what I mean? Because keep in mind that this is also like, Aries also rules the face and the head. So, these are some of those other traits, which now going into, I'm going to talk about appearance. Appearance is also a aspect or a trait of a rising / ascendant sign. So appearance, as I said, not just how one might dress, which this also can fall into it because it's what you are showing to the outside world, but how one may also look as well. So when you're talking about an Aries rising appearance, they're going to have a very prominent face or head because, as I said, Aries rules the head and face areas. So they might even, it's even said that some Aries ascendants / risings might even have a scar on their face or some type of mark on their face, a mole, something to that nature. They can possibly like to wear hats, like be very fond of hats, or might not be so fond of hats because they want their face to show, they want their head to completely show. You get what I mean? So these are some of the appearances how a Aries rising / ascendant might look to the out, based on the outside world. They also Aries also rules the muscular system. So they might be very muscular, or very or be into fitness, or showing that they're into fitness. These people you might see a lot of Aries rising ascendant people at the gym a lot of times, because this is something that they're into. Or they might be just very nicely, naturally toned. You get what I mean? They might not even, they might not be so much into fitness. They could just, like I said, have that natural toning to them, or nice body structure because of it rules the muscular system. You know what I mean? Or even if they are overweight or underweight, so to speak, like they can still have a nice muscular structure to them. Now, on another note, and keep in mind, as I said, these all can, it depends on what the individual's chart is. So it can be a lot, or it can be a little. It can be excessively, or it can be the opposite of that, or anywhere in between. So, it's just based off of how their ascendant or rising is influenced, or is it placed afflictedly. I think that's the word that I'm looking for. If it's a negatively placed, pretty much, or is it positively placed? Do you get what I'm saying? Or is it like a little bit, a little bit of both? That's what's gonna determine on, like if it's negatively placed, for example, then this person might always wear hats. They might have some type of self-esteem issue about how their head look. You get what I mean? Because for whatever reason, it might be some insecurity there, or they could and keep in mind, because Aries also rules, like I said, your head and your head in itself. So they're headstrong people to begin with. So if they get in their own head, so to speak, this can allow them to be the exact opposite of what they might want to be, or what they are insecure about. They can be highly insecure about things that falls into that spectrum because of their egos as well. So they might say they can, like a person with an Aries rising can also have an eye injury, because we're talking about the head and face, like I said. So they can always wear glasses or sunglasses, or have a lazy eye, or have cross-eyed, or whatever the case may be. They might, like I said, have scars or whatever. So if it's placed negatively. If it's placed positively, they can even have a scar, and it might look attractive to people. You get what I'm saying? Because Aries rules the sex drive, they can appear more sexier to others. You know what I mean? People can find them more sexy, because it rules their sex drive. Because keep in mind, we're talking about how they appear to the outside, so they can, or how they like to be appeared. So if that's positively placed, then they can appear to be very sexy. Or if they're not, or if it's negatively placed, they can you know, it can go a lot of different ways. They can think of themselves as being sexy, but might not be, or they can just have low self-esteem about their sexual self, about if they're sexy. Typically speaking, an Aries ascendant is someone from the outside you might view as someone that you want to get in bed with. You know, like they might have that natural energy to them. If that's somebody you might think that they'll be great in bed with. Also, they will have prominent chins. They can have a prominent nose or a prominent mouth, which means that, you know, that they stand out. Like, as I said, it could be negatively or it could be positively. Generally, we're going to speak on positively, but, you know, as I said, it just depends on how the chart is made up, or how even that what's aspecting, you know, that first house, or what's even or what other planets fall within that first house. You know, Mars is also the planet of war, keep in mind, or the god of war. So, like, Mars people, that's the other reason why they have that high energy and very assertive, because they also can be very aggressive people, you know. So an Aries rising can always can be very aggressive, you know. So aggressive in what they're passionate about, aggressive in starting things, aggressive in their when they're, you know, in their physical nature. Whereas, you know what I'm saying, like when I was talking about them going to the gym, aggressive when it comes to getting in bed with somebody, or even when they are in bed with somebody, you know. Which brings me to another thing, like these people, Aries rising or ascendant, can also be, since Mars, the body type that Mars rules is the sex glands. So if you're talking about an Aries Mars, I mean, not an Aries Mars, an Aries ascendant or Aries rising, then they can appear to have, you know, their sexual organs or sexual places, you know what I'm saying, their private areas and all of that can be, you know, can be prominent. You get what I'm saying? That can stand out a lot. You know, whether it's, like I said, it depends on if it's positive or negatively. If it's negatively, then you know what that means. If it's positively, you know what I mean. So that's all I really have on Aries rising ascendant sign. I hope you guys liked the video. As always, if you did, press the like button, press the subscribe button if you want to stay in tune for future videos, which I hope you do. Write in the comment box down below if you want to let me know about this video or anything. And yeah, click on the description box if you want to follow me on any of my social medias. That's it for today's video. Like I said, I hope you guys liked it. I hope you guys loved it. Stay in tune. Until next time, y'all, peace and love.